Hi there, this is Dr. Anna Catterson, Executive Director of Online Learning here at Heartland Community College. And today I'm introducing to you how to create a VR app using our Ricoh Theta 360 cameras and a software called RoundMe. The Teaching and Learning Commons has been very excited to share with you the 360 technology that we've recently adopted. And we want you to think about assessment strategies that students can design using a 360 camera, or you can design as a learning tool in your class. There's many different applications and uses for 360, and you can put it right into Canvas using our UJA Enterprise Media System. If you want to know more about UJA, please plan on attending a future training with Tim Salm, Learning Designer here at the Learning Commons. Now, here in the Teaching Learning Commons, we do have several tabs that are available for checkout, and they will have the name Theta. Theta is the camera that we're using to create all of the virtual reality applications. Now, when we say VR or virtual reality, what does that mean? Well, typically virtual reality means that it's completely immersive. But in this case, it doesn't have to be completely immersive. You can view these videos in Canvas, like I mentioned, or you can view them on a website. Or if you do want to make them into a virtual reality app, you can download them for the Oculus store. The Oculus is the headset that we use here in the Teaching and Learning Commons. You can also download 3D packaged files from the Theta camera to your cell phone and use Google Cardboard or any other virtual reality headset to view them in. Now, the difference between the VR view and the web-based view is when you have the headset on, you get the 360 total immersive view where you can look around with no peripheral vision. If you're looking on the web or on your phone, or even in Canvas through our UJA system, you use a mouse to rotate the image, and you do have peripheral vision. You're not wearing a headset. So in this tutorial today, I'm going to show you how to use the Theta 360 camera. Then we're going to take an image and upload it into RoundMe. And then last, I'll show you how you can view the 360 images using multiple different platforms. Now, here's a caveat. You can also do this live. Our cameras have the ability to live stream. Imagine in your class, if you gave everyone a headset and had them log in, you could set up the camera on a tripod, they could put a headset on, and in a live environment, they could see you in 360. While that might seem a little futuristic, we have tested and have done that here at Heartland a couple of times. It creates a streaming live link through the Theta camera, or you could also stream it on YouTube or even UJA. UJA has the ability to live stream as well. So let's talk about these cameras. The cameras are pretty small. This is a Ricoh Theta. You can see it's no bigger than the size of my hand. It's actually about the size of my hand. It's very slim and it hardly weighs anything. There's a few buttons on the outside edge. There's a power button. There's a Wi-Fi option. And then there are two options underneath it called mode and timer. The mode allows you to change modes from daytime to nighttime. You can change your shutter speed, which is if you were doing motion, you can make it faster or slower. And you can also change something called ISO, which is called your light sensitivity. So if it was a dark space, maybe a theatrical event or a concert, you could change how much light you are letting into the camera. The Wi-Fi option allows you to connect the camera to your cell phone. And that's how you and your students will use the camera. They'll connect through an app. And we'll get started on that here in just a few minutes. In addition, the bottom of the camera has a screw hole mount that allows you to attach it to a tripod. And in the containers that you check out from the Teaching and Learning Commons, we have provided a few different types of tripods. One type is a desktop tripod that looks like this. It's pretty small. It can go up and down. You can set it on a desk, on the floor, on a table, Just remember that the Theta camera, when it captures the 360, it's going to mask out the stand that it sits on. So you won't see this in the 360 picture, but you may see a blur where it tries to mask this piece out. So all of the containers do have a small tripod that you can set on a table for a stand. In addition to that tripod, the container also includes a monopod. A monopod is like a tripod, but it doesn't have a stand. So you can hold it. And it has a telescope end that goes up quite a ways. I would say 3.5 feet maybe. And you can hold the stand, and that allows you to get at different angles. Also keep in mind that the Theta camera will mask out pieces of this monopod so it won't be displayed in your image. It's a nice feature. I like the monopods. They're lightweight, and they also have a strap. So if your students, I know for Mark Harper's class, for example, if they're doing film, this would be a nice lightweight device that they could take with them, and it doesn't get in the way of the recording. All right. There's also another device that's in the tub that will hold a microphone. We do have a couple microphones available for checkout if you'd like, but remember that the Theta has its own internal microphone. So if you have a lot of background noise or more than one person talking, we have some audio equipment that could go along with the camera to help enhance that. In addition, the tub has some instructions that look like this. The instructions show you how to get started and also talks a little bit about how to, what the possibilities are for VR. All right, let's take a look at the app. Now, I'm going to share what the app looks like on my cell phone. So give me a minute to do that. Find my screen. All right, so you should be looking at the home page here of my cell phone, and it might have just a slight delay, but you should see all of the folders on my cell phone, and there is a folder called Photos. I'm going to go into this. And then there is the Theta app. The Theta app is a free download that you can find, whether you are in the Play Store or if you have a Apple, you'll be able to find the Theta app. It is a free download, and I would encourage you to download that so you can connect it to your camera. So your students can also download this app. It's available also for Google phones. I'm going to open up and launch that app. Now, inside of the app, you'll immediately see some options at the bottom. The bottom will show you what device images are saved on this particular camera. Now, this camera has one image, and it's at the top. The image is of Pete and I. Pete is an instructional designer here in the Learning Commons, and we were exploring the camera it looks like on September 13th. So if I wanted to look at the image, I could slowly move my finger around the image to get the 360 view. Do you see that blur at the bottom of the picture? That is where the stand was. So you can see how it masks out the stand. Now, this is a still image of our Teaching and Learning Commons. It's not a moving image, but it will do video as well. Now, I'm rotating just to show you the sphere of the 360, and there's a slight delay on Zoom, but you should be able to see it okay now. Let me go ahead and rotate this back. And I'll spin back around just to give you an idea of how clear it is. Now, we can also zoom in to this picture on different parts. All right. The second option at the bottom are camera images, and this would allow us to select a camera that we want to connect to. In order to connect to the Theta camera that I have here in my hand, we would need to turn on our Wi-Fi. Now, I can't do that in this Zoom session because then I'll be disconnected from how I'm connecting with you today. But if we select the Wi-Fi connection, we can then choose the Theta camera to connect to. Then we could actually get real images right off of the camera at the minute it happens. Let me go back. The third option is Theta 360. Now, this is the Theta 360 website that you can go and look at pictures that others have shared. There's a 360 gallery. There are some tips on how to use the 360 camera, such as shooting without the shutter sound, setting a timer, checking the image immediately after shooting. There's some advanced options too, like using a stand and a tripod. And then you could use the free Theta app to edit any pictures or videos that you have. It's all free with the purchase of Theta camera. Now, we have about a dozen of these cameras, and they are available, as I mentioned. You can share, you can come check out the cameras, and you can have them for up to a week. And we encourage you to explore with those and have your students share as well. Now, the last option here is called Settings at the bottom of our app. Got some notifications on my phone. I apologize for that. Some settings down here at the bottom right will allow us to go ahead and connect. We can also look at camera settings, which could include brightness and contrast. We can change our shutter speed. And then there are share settings as well. If we want to share, we can share out to different social media channels, as well as to the Theta 360 camera. Now, to shoot live, we would select the Theta icon, which is in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It kind of looks like an eyeball. Oops, let me get out of that. Here. This eyeball would allow us to connect to the camera itself, and then we could start shooting live in our environment. Now, again, I'm not able to show you on this particular phone today because I'm connected via Zoom, so I would lose my connection. But that is about as easy as it gets. Once you click that little eye in the right-hand corner for Theta, then that would allow you to immediately start recording. Then, once you have your image, it's going to show it here on your device images. Then what? How do you get the image onto your computer? Well, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You could connect your phone itself to the computer and share the file that way. You can email it to yourself. There's also a share button. You'll notice right at the bottom of the image, you see a star and a trash can, and then there's the share icon. That share icon would allow you to share it with the current orientation. If you choose that option, then you can see some additional social media channels that you can share to, including you can share to Facebook, Twitter, or Weibo, or again, you can email it to yourself. So many ways to get the images off of your camera. In addition, there is a kebab in the very top right-hand corner, and you could choose to select an album to share, or you can import. If you have other 360 images that you want to bring into Theta that are from an external source, you could import those in as well. Very versatile. So let me stop there, and I don't think there's any questions that I can see, but if there are questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and happy to answer those. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to share today, let me share my screen, and I'll show you a little bit about the Theta website. This is the Rigo Theta website. So here you get an up-close view of what those cameras look like. Some cameras have the capability of holding internal memory, and we have a few of those, but most of ours is web-based, and they don't hold as much memory as some of the more expensive ones, but we do have a few of each. Look at the quality of this one here on the home page. Isn't that beautiful? The way that you can spin around those 360 images and take a look at the entire image. So this is the web-based version, but if we had a headset on and we were looking at this image, this would give us the opportunity to be fully immersed. And that's what we call or refer to as virtual reality. All right, let me over here. Now, once you have your images completed and you have some captures that you're ready to stitch together, then we're going to introduce you to another technology called RoundMe. And again, all of this is the instructions in your tub for your students, as well as for you to help you get started. We also have a micro-credential course that I'll share at the end of this training that you can share with your students on how to get started with virtual reality. So RoundMe is a fairly new software that the Teaching and Learning Commons adopted this past year, and we have been developing some virtual tours or virtual apps for many locations across campus. Jewel Crowley-Custis, a learning designer here, designed one for the CDL, our Child Development Lab, as well as adult education. Our library and tutoring have also been involved in developing some VR tours as well. When you go to roundme.com, you'll see on the homepage one sample tour, and then we'll give you the credentials so you can log in and access this so you can start making your own apps if you're interested. You can also do a search. If you click on community, you can see some popular choices that people have made, some popular tours, or you can do a search. If you look for nearby, you could look to see what's in our region. So here we've got some Normal, Illinois folks, some in Pekin, quite a few people that are using this nearby as well. If you wanted to conduct a search, you could type in, let's see if we can find Heartland. I'm not sure if it's going to populate this way, but we'll do it. We'll see if we can find it. Oh, we got Penn State when we typed in Heartland, not exactly what we were looking for. Let's try another way. And I have to look up the tags to see what we called it, but we do have a few. We do have a few tours that you can look and see in the community. I'm gonna just type the whole name in and see if I get any closer. Nope, we'll have to look at that, and I'll share those in the chat of where those can be found, because I'm not seeing them right away, and that's okay. So do conduct a couple of searches. Your students may also be interested in, like, maybe touring Spain, for example. Maybe they could find a tour that's related to something that they're researching. There's a world map that you can select and look at tours in all kinds of countries. Take a look at those. Lots of different options. So to create your own tour, we're going to select Create Tour in the top right-hand corner. And then we can drag and drop any images from our camera right here into the drag and drop. Let me open up a tour that I've already made here. So here's an image of Heartland Community College that we dragged and dropped. And as I do a spin, you can see that we had a little bit of rain, didn't we? There's some water there. I'm always impressed with how clear these cameras are doing the 360. So you can see from the top all the way down to the bottom. And there's the tripod that it tried to mask out. Now, with RoundMe, you have the option of creating hotspots. Hotspots are information items or links that will take you to another location within the image. So here's a hotspot here. If I select that I can put in YouTube videos, information links. Here I have a link to the college, but I could put anything in there that I wanted. Now, let me jump over to Edit so you can see how this works. I only have one image so far in this VR app. If I wanted to create another image, I could simply drag and drop another image onto my screen. And then I have these options right above that I can select. I can choose to insert a still image on the top. I could create a location link that would take someone to another image, or I could create zoom limitations. So they could zoom into the door, for example, and the door would open. You can also do stereo panorama. You can replace this panorama with another image, or you can download the original file. There are many ways that you can create a virtual reality app. So think about this. If you were wanting to implement something like this in your own classes, how could students develop a tour? Maybe it's for business and they partner with a nonprofit organization and create a marketing strategy, a VR tour for their organization. How cool would that be? That gives them an opportunity to capture those images and stitch them together and produce something of good quality to share. Or perhaps it is a science class and you want to take them on a virtual field trip outdoors. You could do that live, or the students could also record their own pictures of their findings and maybe even create a VR journal of their field event. The possibilities are really endless. And this whole process of creating an app takes very little time. I believe that Jewel and I were able to create a tour in less than an hour from the start of taking pictures, putting it into the virtual reality app, and exporting. So the process itself is pretty intuitive. Now, once you are all done, there are options to share your virtual reality tour. So let's go up here to settings. Under settings, we can give it a name and a description, and we can put in a category of where this tour best fits. It also tells us the camera information, and that is kind of standard for all tours because we want to make sure that those that are looking at it, if they wanted to replicate something similar, they would be able to have that information. We also have the options to show different settings over here on the right. So you can see how you can show previews, you can allow comments, you can share camera info, or you can make it private, unlisted. Okay, once you have those settings, the next option is how you want to share it. One of the most popular ways that we like to share is through what we call our Pro embedded scripting, and that allows us to generate an HTML code that could be put onto a website or into your Canvas course or even into a Canvas page. There's a few settings that you have for the Pro embedded option, including an image cover, for example, a picture that would display before the tour would begin, a logo, and any titles that you wanted to include. Then you would choose the option to get embed code, and then that script is what we could put inside of Canvas. Let's see, other things that we can do over here on the right. There's the hotspot item, and here's our privacy settings. I think that's about it. You can also share the URL at the top, and users could view it on the web rather than have it downloaded. So again, multiple opportunities for you to embed this onto a Canvas page or share the link out with other users if they would prefer to view it that way. We are more than welcome. We welcome you down to the Learning Commons anytime to get your questions answered on virtual reality apps. Once you have downloaded the VR app that you've created, we can also upload it to the Oculus headsets. And so students could watch each other's apps that way as well. We hope that this was informative and gave you the basic information of how to create a virtual reality app. In the future, we also have a micro-credential course that we would encourage you to explore. That micro-credential course explores what is virtual reality, how to create a Round Me tour. It can be shared with your students. And then once they're completed with that course, they'll earn a digital badge through our Credly platform. Thanks for joining me today. Please reach out to the Teaching and Learning Commons if you have any questions. Jewel, myself, Pete, or Tim are able to help you with any of your virtual reality creations.